How are you doing? You hanging in there? We got this. Middle of February. We're doing it. It's go time. We're traveling. We're putting in the work. We're getting ready for those end of season grand nationals, regional nationals, worlds, international events. Did I get all the names in there? Every competition is a nationals. Like, it's lost its meaning. It's nationals. It's super nationals. It's nationals. We're doing it. Here we are. Thank you for those of you who are listening, who are leaving reviews, who are sharing the Cheer Mom podcast, who are coming up to me and saying that you listen and that you learn from it. People are like, oh, you probably hear it all the time. I never get tired of it. Knowing that me just sitting in some random room in my house talking to myself is like helping people. It's hard to make that connection when I'm just like, again, like I'm sitting here like looking into a camera by myself, making up what I'm going to say next as I go along. It's hard to make that connection knowing that somebody is on the other side actually listening and like getting something from it. And so thank you for all of your kind words. Today is a special episode that is going to answer a few of the common questions that are asked in all of the Facebook groups. That is the overarching theme of the question is, how do I support my athlete at home? My athlete wants to improve their skills. What do we need to be working on with them at home to make that happen? Underneath that overarching theme is like, what is the best tumble mat? What is the best air track? What kind of exercises should they be doing, etc. If you are not part of the Cheer Mom Hive Facebook group, we are over 8,000 members going strong. And there are some really helpful people in there asking and answering questions and offering support. And one of them is Coach Sunni Wheeler. Yeah, fellow Wheeler, no relation. Coach Sunni has been a gymnastics coach and a cheer coach for many years. And she is also a content creator on TikTok and has some really funny videos about coaching and what it's like from a coaching perspective. We have a similar sense of humor and we connected right away. I've gotten to meet her at a couple of cheer events and she is just the sweetest. But she really caught my eye with a post in the Facebook group, and you can go search for it, about, okay, guys, from a coach's perspective, here's what you should and should not be doing at home with your athlete. And the answers intrigued and surprised me. And so we dive deep into that with our conversation today. I said, you've got to be on the podcast and we've got to talk about this. And she does go through some of the exercises that the kids can be working on at home, what absolutely not to do, that I think almost all of us cheer parents have done or allowed our child to do. So she offers some guidance, including the ever popular question, what kind of tumble track, what kind of air track should I be getting my athlete? Thank you, Coach Sunni, for spending time with me and for all that you invest into your own athletes and to cheer athletes across the nation through your words and through this podcast interview.
All the moms in the world, let's chat it up. We're talking competitions, uniforms, and all of the above. It's the Cheer Mom, yes, the Cheer Mom podcast. Cheer Mom, yes, the Cheer Mom podcast. Cheer Moms, your podcast is on.
We'll just start with who you are, where you're from, how long you've been coaching, tell your story about cheer.
Yeah,
right?
So I was a competitive gymnast first. So I competed gymnastics, club gymnastics, then I competed high school gymnastics, and then I didn't compete. I went to do college gymnastics for like very short period of time. And then I decided college gymnastics wasn't for me. So I left the team. And then the following year, I was like, hey, why don't I try out for the college cheer team? And so I did. And that's when I really fell in love with cheerleading. My high school team was not very good. They were like, we were doing like halves, fulls, stuff that like kindergartners do now. And we thought we were so cool, right? Right.
Kindergartners do.
Right. But cheerleading was different back then. It wasn't competitive. I think it was, but it wasn't like it is now. All Star hadn't been born yet. Of course, I feel really old. But so that's where I got into cheerleading from there. And then I've been coaching since I was 16. So 30 plus years. I coached competitive tumbling for about 10 years. And then I stopped. And then I just started up coaching competitive tumbling again. So now I'm doing tumbling and All Star cheerleading coaching. So I'm
And what
crazy.
part of the country are you in?
I'm in Illinois, so Chicago area.
I hear that all-star cheer especially is not as maybe valued in Illinois or not as big. Would you disagree? Agree with that?
Know that I would agree with that. We've got some
Okay.
big cheer gyms in our area. So I work for Fusion Extreme, which is out of a gymnastics gym called Tumbling Times. Down the street from us, we have Cheer Extreme. A couple towns over, we have Ice, very big gyms. And then there's some other huge gyms in Illinois in our area.
Okay. Would you say there's more of an emphasis on school cheer in Illinois? Is that maybe why people have the misconception about all-star cheer?
Maybe. So in Illinois, you can't compete. It's against the
Okay.
rules. But one of the few
Okay.
states that has that, unfortunately. So when our kids get to be high school age, they have to choose whether they want to do high school cheerleading or they want to do all star. And then a lot of our programs will have a quarter season team. So they'll start in like, February and then they'll just compete at the end of the year. But high school does take a lot of our top athletes that are of high school
Interest
age. Yeah. So that's unfortunate.
interesting.
I wish they would change that, but they won't. So it sucks.
We've known each other online for a while now and have been interacting on Facebook and Instagram. But I met you last year in Chicago at an event.
Yes.
And
Was
I
awesome.
remember I told some people this story because I think it's just so cool. I remember you and your coaches being very nervous because it was like your first large event that you traveled to Chicago to do and you were like, we've never seen anything this big before. This is totally new to us. We're just a small little gym. And your team ended up like winning the whole thing.
Yes. Yeah, that was was a huge surprise to us. We compete with, I don't want to call them a small company, but we compete with Extreme Spirit. And we stayed within the Stream Spirit brand. So we just do their competitions. They're not small, but they're not big as Gold Rush was. And we see the same teams over and over again. They mostly focus on like levels 1 to 3. Sometimes they'll have like a level 4, rarely a level 5. It's a great company. It was perfect for us, but we wanted to do something a little more. We wanted to go to All Star World. So yeah, we went to Gold Rush and we brought our team, and I remember freaking out because we had not competed on that score sheet ever. And we got some legalities, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. We got all these legalities. I feel like our score is low. And yeah, our level 3 ended up winning. And to say that I was amazed and floored was beyond. Like it was awesome.
That's my favorite kind of story and reaction because I was not in the awards hall when you won, but I heard your gym and your team and your parents' reaction when you did. And we all kind of stopped conversation going, what just happened? What just happened? The golden buzzer thing for people listening, we were at this event called Gold Rush and they have this really cool thing called golden buzzer where in the middle of the competition, like the team competes and the judges have the discretion to give teams what's called a golden buzzer and they only hand out, 1, 2 or 3 golden buzzers and it's an automatic paid bid to the All-Star World Championship. And it's like this big really cool thing and everyone screams and they do streamers and it's a whole thing. I was like, but the golden buzzer thing is like over. Why are people I mean, it was like you guys had won Summit. It was like you guys had won All-Star Worlds. You'd won the biggest competition of your lives. And that's so cool. Like you could feel the emotion from half a convention center hall away.
Yeah, our parents are amazing, but it really was like winning All-Star World. We actually did get a bid to All-Star World at that event, which also we weren't expecting. We walked in with the expectation that we were going to go out on the floor and we weren't going to look bad. That was our expectation. Like we want to go out there and just not look bad. And to actually win, and then our level 4 got second place, which was also really awesome. But yeah, just being there with all these teams, like we don't normally compete against a lot of those teams, and we've never competed on a stage before. So that was something brand new to our team. So yeah, we felt like these little underdogs that came in, and it was just amazing.
I love that so much. And we talk about smaller D2 programs a lot. My daughter's been part of a small program, and I know that mindset of like, let's just not look bad. Let's just
Right.
not embarrass ourselves.
Right.
Like, let's just do the best we can. We know that we're not the biggest program. We know we're not the flashiest program, but let's go out there and do our best. I know the feeling of being nervous and being up against all of these like seemingly really good teams and in a competitive division too. Like the level 3 is a competitive division. And I just think that's such a cool story that quote unquote the underdogs just quietly came in and took the whole thing.
That's our favorite memory. We actually practice in a gymnastics gym, so we don't have a full floor. We don't even have lines on our floor. We draw the lines on our floor with chalk so that the girls know where to go. And then one of our practice rooms has a low ceiling, so we can't even stunt in that room. So we have a lot of challenges just getting our girls to do the routine and getting them on the floor.
And right there is a testimony of, again, we talk about D1, D2. You have to choose what's best for you. But just because you choose a smaller program doesn't mean you're choosing less than. So I think that's fantastic. Kudos to you and your team of coaches and your athletes
Well,
who
thank you.
have accomplished so much. Congratulations.
Thanks. And it was wonderful meeting you there. I was like fangirling. I was telling the other coaches, like, we gotta come take a picture. They're like, "Are we really gonna go over there?" "Yeah, yeah."
We had fun at that event. That was a fun one. And I loved meeting you guys too. That's a good memory for me. The Gold Rush events are near the top of my list of just like excitement. We have the opportunity at that event to kind of hang out with the staff and judges a little bit. Even they are excited about what happens at those events. I can tell it warms their hearts and makes them feel good when the golden buzzer goes or when the underdogs do well. Like they're rooting for everyone. It's such a cool family oriented like warm and fuzzy event. So you have a really good coach perspective on TikTok and Instagram of, what it's like dealing with athletes as a coach. So if you need a good laugh from a coach's perspective, go follow Coach Sunny. Let's talk I you caught my eye, again cuz we're friends, but you are involved in the Facebook groups. You're involved on social media. You're always so positive. One comment that you left on someone's post that this question gets thrown around a lot in every single Facebook group, in every cheer mom conversation, I feel like they're asking, how can I support my athlete at home? She wants to improve her tumbling. She wants to improve her flexibility. She wants to do this and that. What do I need at home to help her accomplish that? What should be working on at home? I think that's a very noble question. I like when I see those questions. I like to see the responses. But you had a comment that popped up and I went, "Oh, that's very interesting." And I said, "We need to talk about this on the podcast." So, first, tell me your response to that question and kind of paraphrase what you said.
I don't think that practicing actual skills at home really helps a tumbler get the skill because their focus at home, especially when they're first learning something and they don't have a spotter and, there's no coach right there. They want to just be able to land the skill. So usually we're talking about back handsprings. That's usually the big skill everybody wants to get. What usually ends up happening is it's like the brain wants you to land the skill. That's all that your brain is concerned about, your body landing that skill safely. But it's going to make your body do all these things that are incorrect technique in order to get you to land safely. So that's where we get tucked over back handsprings, throwing the head. The thing that I hate the worst is a trampoline back handspring, which I can spot a
Yes,
mile away.
you
Yes.
talked about that. Like, trampolines can be dangerous for obvious reasons, but please don't encourage them to practice their back handsprings on a trampoline.
Yes. Usually when a child learns a trampoline back handspring on their own, a trampoline can be really good for helping to learn skills. I mean, we have one at the gym, we use it, but it's good for air awareness and for slowing a skill down so that you can concentrate on it because a trampoline bounces you slower and it gives you the power instead of you generating it. So, yeah, I can spot a trampoline back handspring because usually the tumbler tries to bounce off the floor, they throw their head back, they go up in the air, they tuck their legs over. So I can spot one, and then it takes a long time to try to fix that back handspring. Actually takes longer to fix the back handspring than it would be to just teach it from scratch, practicing the drills and taking off the correct way. So mostly I think that they should be focusing on strengthening and flexibility. I like to think of it like baking a fancy dessert. So you want to have the right ingredients going into creating that dessert. So you want to have good strength, you want to have flexibility, and you want to have those body shapes drilled into your head. If you have those ingredients, you can learn any skill in the gym. That coach can take you and teach you pretty much anything that they want. And it's faster. So, the stronger and more flexible an athlete is, the faster they can learn a skill correctly. But, kids don't want to practice
Yeah,
their
coach, that's
flexibility at the gym.
boring.
I know, right?
Doing drills at home is so boring. We want to
Yes,
do the fun, flashy stuff.
exactly. It's hard. It's hard to get kids to practice at home. As coaches, we try to get them to send in videos of them doing their flexibility, doing their conditioning, and a lot of times we'll offer prizes if they do it, but it's still like so hard to get them to do that stuff at home because it is boring. It is boring.
Okay, so what are some specific things that we can be encouraging our athletes or that our athletes should be doing at home? You talk about strength and flexibility. What are some specific drills that they can do?
Well, if you have the room in your house to have a mat, handstands are a good thing to practice at home. It's the basics of every gymnastic skill, every tumbling skill is going to be that handstand. So practicing a handstand, doing it against the wall, that's a good way to get a lot of strength and a lot of awareness of being upside down. Kids want to practice a skill at home. I say practice your handstand. But splits are great. Buy your kid a good quality mat. And those stretching straps are actually a really, really good tool for at home, especially the one that goes over the door where you can the cheerleaders pull their little leg up and, practice their flyer positions. That's something great that you can purchase for your cheerleader and they can use that at home to gain flexibility. I think the videos that are out there, like the Anna McNulty videos, I think what was it, Gabby Butler has some videos out there for stretching. Those are really awesome. I actually have a cheerleader, a little 9-year-old, and we do the stretching videos together because she doesn't have any flexibility, unfortunately. So, but those are actually really great. I think they're fun. I like the Anna McNulty ones. I think that she's adorable. She's inspirational, and I love doing her videos. She's cute. She's so relaxed. She's so cute. I love her little voice. She's amazing. So I think those are something great that you could do at home. And then
That's great.
I think you
Yeah.
could talk to your coach too. Like every athlete's an individual situation. So you can talk to your coach and say, "Hey coach, I want to do something at home. What can I do? What specific drills, what specific things do I need?" Because one athlete might need more flexibility, another one might need more strength. One might have weak ankles, another one might have, weak wrists, and that your coach can really give you a good idea of what you can do at home, what exactly you need at home to get that skill that you want to get.
Yeah, and what are your thoughts on some of the world level athlete, Brooklyn Lily comes to mind, that offer Zoom privates with flexibility and drills and things like that. Do you think that those are beneficial?
I don't know. I've like never seen one of those, but I would imagine any sort of one-on-one, especially some of the more influential people can sometimes get their cheerleaders to do things that we could tell them 10 times to do something, but they go visit and they do a session with Gabby Butler and she says it, and all of a sudden they're like, this is what I need to do because Gabby Butler told me to. So that can be an awesome way to motivate your cheerleader or tumbler to do some of the less exciting things.
I love that. And those are relatively cheap. Usually, I've noticed they're usually cheaper than a private lesson with a coach in your gym. And not to say do the ones at home instead of the ones with the coach. But if you're looking at flexibility and drills, odds are that you can do those from home as a supplement with somebody who's offering those virtual private lessons.
Yeah, it's definitely a way to accelerate your progress to do stretching and strengthening at home because we could only do so much of that in the gym. We want to use that valuable gym time with the athletes to have them drill the skills and to look at them and tell them individually what they need to do. So, really accelerating their process comes down to doing the stretching and strengthening at home. So, when they come back in the gym, they're more conditioned, they're more flexible, and then we can make those changes and we don't have to spend time on that.
You said something a few minutes ago about having a mat in your home. And I want to talk about that for a minute because that's another very commonly asked
Oh,
question. I
yeah.
think Facebook groups have like a specific pinned thread for if you want to learn about mats and air tracks and tumble tracks, like look on this. Stop asking the question so much in
Right.
the face. And I actually made a blog post about it, but I would love your advice on what's the best kind of mat to have at home.
Well, I think there does become a certain point where tumblers can practice their skills at home. I think as long as they can do a skill, like if a tumbler has a back walkover and they have a solid back walkover and they want to work on getting those legs straight, of course they can work on getting those legs straight at home. And then some of our higher level tumblers, they can practice at home. You know, they already know what they're doing. They can get an air track in their backyard, get one of those huge long air tracks, and they can practice their skills. But they're seasoned, they know what they're doing. They've had these skills for a while. They know what they're doing. They can practice safely at home. I think air tracks can be good. One of the things I like to emphasize in the Facebook groups and to our cheerleaders is that you should never land a one-legged skill on an uneven surface. So, practicing those aerials, don't do those on your trampoline. Don't land them on your air track. If you want to practice them, do them off the air track onto another solid non-moving mat because it's unsafe. It can blow a knee, you can sprain your ankle. So that's one thing that I like. One piece of advice I like to really put out there is don't land on one-legged skills. That includes back walkovers and front walkovers on an uneven surface.
Interesting. That's great advice. So there's so many options out there for let's talk about air tracks. There's different widths and different height and of course different lengths. It sounds like it depends on the type of athlete that you are and what skills you have mastered. In general, what should parents be looking for if they're trying to purchase an air track?
So if your tumbler is small and young and they're just working on their front walkovers, back walkovers, you can buy like a little air track. I even have one of those in our basement. The little ones, I think they're like 3 foot wide and they're maybe like 9 or 10 feet long. Those are fine for that. And you can get the ones that are about 4 inches thick. But as soon as your athlete starts to be doing like round off back handsprings, you're going to want that 8 inch thicker air track. Otherwise, they're going to bottom out on it, especially as they grow taller.
So what's the difference? Is the thickness the firmness? So thicker mat means firmer, or do
The
I have it
thicker mat's
backwards?
just gonna be, like, thicker, like, this way, so when they hit that mat,
Okay.
they're the thinner ones, when you hit the mat, a heavier athlete's gonna push down, and they're gonna bottom out on that mat, and
Oh,
they're
got
gonna
it.
cause the mat to just, like, wing up like that. So, they're gonna wanna get that 8-inch thickness, and they're gonna wanna make that mat really firm, so really blow that mat up, nice and firm.
Interesting. Okay, thank you for that advice. All right. Well, this has been This has been really helpful, and I think that you've answered, like, all of the most popular Facebook questions.
They'll still ask them. They'll still ask them.
I know, and that's okay. We need new people in the sport, and new people in the sport have a lot of questions. What other advice would you give to a new cheer parent?
I would say just enjoy the journey and be a cheer mom supporter, support your athlete, support your gym, and support the coach. A lot of parents want their athlete to move up really fast. Some of the things I hear a lot from parents online and parents in our gym is a lot of them focus on the level number. You know, I want my kid to level up. The kids want to level up. They want to get to that next level, and really mastering the level they're on and knowing that these levels are wide. There's so many skills in level 1. And a lot of kids, like my daughter included, she's 9. She's like, "Oh, I want to go to level 2." But the level 1 is so broad. They start on level 1 and level it's just huge. So you can stay on that level 1 for many, many years and get those solid skills, and then you'll rock it up to level 2, level 3. Like, you'll go up faster. I guess it's another one of those, get those fundamentals, get your strength, get your basics in, and then you're gonna fly.
Interesting. Well, thank you for that, because I think just as I'll get on a soapbox, as a American society, we value achievement so much, and there's nothing wrong with achievement, and we celebrate achievement, but achievement isn't all there is. I mean, I'm no, Oprah self-help guru, but there's a value to being content and happy with where you're at, which will take you farther than maybe a short-term achievement.
Yes, definitely. I mean, because we as a gym, sometimes we'll push that athlete up, and then every single time I've regretted it. Every single time I've pushed the athlete up, because I've been, parents, athletes will just be like, "Well, I got that skill and my mom paid a lot of money for those privates. I want my athlete to move up." And we've done it and we've regretted it. And most of the time, the athlete has been miserable the entire season. So I know it's really exciting when that athlete, "Oh, we moved up," or whatever, because mom kind of threatened to move gyms or whatever. But honestly, the athlete was miserable all season. They knew they weren't ready. They're not in the routine a lot. Every once in a while, you'll get a surprise. An athlete will push themselves and rise to the challenge, but more often than not, they're miserable the whole season. And a lot of times they end up quitting cheerleading entirely, unfortunately.
Wow, and I think that that's valuable, especially coming from someone who has a smaller program with fewer athletes, right? Because do you guys ever struggle with I mean, this is an assumption of mine, but I would imagine, like, let's say you wanna put together a level 4 team, and you have some level 4 athletes, but it would really help you if you brought some of those level 3 athletes up, but they're not quite ready. Is that a complication that you guys face? Is that something that you struggle with
Definitely.
in bringing people up? So I think it's valuable to hear, "No, let's keep you where you're going to be the most comfortable, even at the cost of maybe us having more teams or higher level teams."
We did that this year, actually. So we had a lot of our girls graduated their 8th grade and they went to high school. And we actually encouraged them to try high school cheerleading. I know it doesn't help our gym, but we encourage them to try high school cheerleading because we care about them and we think it's important to experience all kinds of cheerleading. And so if you want to go out, try high school cheerleading, see if you like it. But for us, that meant a lot of our athletes left our program. So we actually had a level 3 and a level 4 last year, and some of our level 4 athletes came back, and we looked at our numbers and said, "You know what? We just don't have the numbers to do a strong level 4. We could do a weak level 4 or a very, very tiny level 4, or we could do an amazing level 3. What do you want to do?" And we asked them, and they unanimously voted to do a very strong level 3. And it's been fun. We've been able to have this amazing level 3 this year. We're excited to take them back to the big competitions. Last year, our level 3 at All-Star World, we missed making finals by so much. Like, just little tiny. think they took 7 teams, we were 8th or something like that, or they took 6 teams and we were just we would have been the next
Heart-wrenching.
one, and we were like,
Been
"Oh."
there. Yeah.
So, yeah, so this year we have an amazing level 3, and we asked them, "What do you want?" And that's what they said. We're gonna do a quarter season level 4, so as a small program, sometimes we cross a lot of those athletes, and then sometimes we just have to make smaller teams.
It's like we always say, winning on a level 1 team feels just as good as winning on a level 6 team. People don't complain about their placement or what team they're on when they hear their name called as a first place winner.
Yes. The medals are I keep telling them the medals are the same, the banners are the same, the awards are the same, and watching them go out with confidence is awesome. Leveling up too soon, going out without confidence is not a fun place to be, but being where you're confident and you can go out there and put out that really good routine and then feel like you have a chance of winning, that's a lot more fun.
Yes. I've been on a I keep saying I've been. I have
You're
never
right.
been on a cheer team.
You're an amazing cheer mom.
I have been with teams, my daughter has been on teams where they know that they are not a strong team in comparison with other teams in their division, and she's been on teams where, yeah, there's a lot at stake because we're good. We have a shot at this, and those feelings come with their own baggage and come with their own downsides, but being confident, I think, is the most important thing because we wanna build confident cheerleaders and athletes, but we wanna build confident humans, and if you're going through life, I think, always feeling like you don't have a chance, that's gonna bleed over into every area of your life. Like, I think that our athletes need to learn how to win and learn how to lose
Mhm.
and be able to deal with their responses to both. But I love that perspective of let's give them that confidence of knowing that they have a shot and knowing that they know they're going to put out the absolute best and that's going to be good enough.
That includes the tumbling too. You know, a lot of parents are like, I've paid a lot for these private. My kid got this new skill, so my kid got a round off back handspring. They need to go to level 2 next year because they got a round off back handspring. We try to explain to them a round off back handspring is not elite. It's like the lowest skill that you would need to be on that level 2 team. So getting a round off back handspring doesn't make your athlete a level 2 athlete, but they're getting there. And a lot of kids on level 1 have a round off back handspring, and that's okay. It's okay to have a round off back handspring and not compete that round off back handspring because you want to compete those skills that you're confident in. It's just different from gymnastics. In gymnastics, it's all about having perfection on the beam, on the floor, doing those skills with straight legs, pointed toes. You don't want to put those skills in the routine till they're perfected. But sometimes in cheerleading, because there's so many, because technique is important, but it's not so minusculely important as it is in gymnastics. Sometimes messy tumbling goes out on that mat, unfortunately.
Well, and with all the changes in the score sheets and the different score sheets, I'm still trying to learn and
I
understand
can't
it
keep up.
all.
I cannot keep
See,
up.
I mean, if the coach can't keep up, like I'm a lost cause, but it seems like there has been more emphasis on perfect tumbling technique
I love
rather
that. I
than
love that.
just yeah, rather than just completing the skill. And I've noticed that just in the caliber of tumbling technique across the board at competitions this season is they're not putting as much of an emphasis on everybody's gotta tumble, which is great. It's the people who are tumbling need to be perfect. I think that that makes for obviously, it makes for a better score, but it makes it more interesting to watch for me because even teams where I don't know the team, I don't know any athletes on the team, I get nervous for them when I see that they're just barely executing the skill versus, wow, that was incredible tumbling. And I bet that level 2 girl has some level 4 skills because that round off back handspring was flawless.
I love that. I love that the judges are doing that, putting that emphasis on that technique because good technique in a lower level skill translates to good technique in a higher level skill.
Love it. Coach, thank you so much for your time and your wisdom. This was a great conversation. You got me thinking real deep today. I don't know if it's the full moon or what, but got me thinking real deep on some things. We appreciate all that you do online and for athletes in cheer. And thank you so much for spending some time with me.
Thank you so much for having me. I think you're amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. I posted your videos on our band page. I'm like, you listen to this cheer. She got it. She knows what she's doing.
Oh, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that.